Greetings, guys. This is Mr. Harper again. I am going to be teaching this time from section 3.5 or chapter 3, section 5. Okay, so for this one, we're dealing with the order of operations agreement used in chapter 1 and 2 is repeated here for your reference. Okay, this one's going to be, we've already studied this, but I want you guys to go over this again because this is very important. Okay, do all operations in parentheses. So remember the P, that stands for please. Simplify any numeric expressions containing exponents. Exponents is second, that is excuse. Do all multiplication and division as they occur from left to right. So we say MD, that's my dear. And again, that is, you do them left to right. So if division comes before multiplication, you do division first, or multiplication first, if it comes first. Then you subtract, you do addition and subtraction. So Aunt Sally. So to remember this, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which I suppose that is still being used because I had some students who knew that expression. So parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Okay, note how the following expressions containing exponents are simplified. So you have negative 3 squared, or to the second power. That is negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. Okay? Okay. How to, 1, perform operations inside parentheses. So wants you to do everything inside the parentheses. So over here in the example, you can pause this if you want to read this on your own. Negative 3 squared minus 2, 8 minus 3, 2 times 8 minus 3, plus negative 5. So you go through this. It's actually 2 times 5. So you go negative 3 squared minus 2 times 5 plus negative 5. So you simplify it. You take the 3 and you square it and you get 9. Then you do minus 2 times 5 plus negative 5. So it is 9 minus 10, because you do the multiplication, plus negative 5. Now you go down here, you go 9 plus negative 10 plus negative 5. So you combine these together and you get 9 plus negative 10 is negative 1. Then you're doing that plus negative 5. Then your answer is negative 6 when you add the two negatives together. Now, your calculator will do all of this for you. So all you have to do is do parentheses, negative 3 in parentheses squared minus 2 parentheses 8 minus 3 in parentheses plus parentheses negative 5 in parentheses. I don't know if you have to stick all the parentheses in there, but it's a good habit to keep in. Okay. So, how to 3. Pause it and do these. Let's go pause it and try these. We're not doing anything terribly new, we're just simplifying it, and it gives you directions on how to do everything. Okay, pause it and do. Okay, now we're already to the end of this exercise because it wasn't very long. Okay, 3.5 concept. To simplify expression 6 minus 4 divided by negative 2, the first operation that must be performed is, and you would say, well, you have division, so you have to do division first. You have parentheses, but you don't have anything really inside the parentheses but a negative. Okay, pause this and do it. Let's go pause it and do all the operations. Pause it and perform all of the operations. Pause it and perform all of the operations. Pause it and do these. Okay, now we're on Chapter 3, Summary. Keywords. Numbers greater than 0 are called positive. Less than 0 are called negative numbers. There show examples over there. The integers are -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The integers can be defined as whole numbers and their opposites. So, yeah, I think that's a good description because we studied in Chapter 1 whole numbers, which is all the plus numbers. You can have your opposites, which would be a negative number. Opposite numbers are two numbers that are the same distance from 0. So you have -1, +1. And they're the same number, they're just on different sides of the 0. The absolute value of a number is the distance from 0. That's what you're paying attention to with these. A rational number is a number that can be written in the form a over b, where a and b are integers and b does not equal 0, because you can't divide something up into 0 pieces. I know I've discussed that a couple of times, but I'm trying to emphasize it. Essential rules and procedures. Order relations. A is greater than b if a is to the right of b on the number line. So you have 0, 1. So let's go 1, 0. If this number, which would have been a, is further to the right on the number line, this direction here, then it is going to be greater. So it doesn't matter if you're dealing with -100 then 99 or -99. -99 is going to be greater because it is not as far from 0. It is to the right. To add integers with different signs, find the absolute value of the numbers, subtract the lesser absolute value from the greater absolute value, then attach the sign. So if you're over here, if we're adding -6 plus +4, you make both into absolute values, and you take 6 minus 4 and attach whatever sign 6 had. Okay. To subtract two integers, add the opposites of the second integer to the first integer. So 6 minus 4 equals 6 plus -4. 6 minus -4 equals 6 plus 4, because these two negatives go into a positive. I was in high school before I learned that, guys. So you guys are ahead of me. To multiply integers with the same sign, multiply the absolute value of the factor. The product is positive. So if you're doing a negative times a negative or a positive times a positive, your results will always be positive. If you're multiplying integers with different signs, then your product will always be negative. To divide two integers with the same sign, divide the absolute values. So it's 15 divided by 3 equals 5. -15 divided by 3 equals 5. And the same goes to divide two integers with different signs. It's always going to be negative. Okay, properties of addition. Addition property of 0. If you add 0 to it, it's never going to change whatever you're adding 0 to. If addition or commutative property says a plus b equals b plus a, so 1 plus 2 equals 3, but 2 plus 1 also equals 3. The associative property of addition is a plus b plus c equals a plus b plus c. You can just change the parentheses. Okay, inverse property of addition. You go a plus -a equals 0. So if you take a positive and you add a negative to it, you're going to get 0. So properties of multiplication. Multiplication property of 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So if I say I have $1 million times 0, I'm still going to have 0. Okay, multiplication property of 1. You go, anything times 1 is the number you're timesing by 1. Associative property of multiplication. A times b times c equals a times b times c. You're doing the same thing as with the addition. Okay. Division properties of 0 and 1. If a does not equal 0, 0 divided by a equals 0. If a does not equal 0, a divided by a is 1. And that's just basically saying any number divided by itself is 1, unless it's 0 divided by 0. In that case, you can't do the problem, so you can't do it. So a divided by 1 equals a. A divided by 0 is undefined. You can't do it. So, order of operations agreement. Step 1, do all operations inside parentheses. Step 2, simplify any numerical expression containing exponents. Do multiplication and division. Do addition and subtraction. Remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right, now we're on to Chapter 3, review exercises. So, pause it and do them. Pause it and do the exercises. 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 Okay, this next part says test over Chapter 3. Work the problems. Pause it and do the problems. Pause it and do the problems. Pause it. Pause it. Cumulative review exercises. Yeah. Pause it and do the exercises. Pause it. Pause it. Pause it. Okay, we are finished with Chapter 3. I will be ending this in a few minutes. I am going to show you, this is Chapter 4, Variable Expressions, which is a good part of the basis of algebra. And we will get into these, or negative 12 minus negative 15. Now the two negatives become a positive, so it's negative 12 plus 15. We could put them both to their absolute value. So it would be negative, would be negative, actually their absolute value would be 12 and 15. Now you would take the 15, because you take the bigger number minus the smaller number. 15 minus 12 would be 3. Then, because the 15 was the larger number, you would tack the negative sign on. So your answer to negative 12 minus a negative 15, actually no wait, that wouldn't be, because you would change the 15 would become a positive, so it'd just be a positive 15 minus 12, which would be a positive 3. Almost made a mistake. Okay, so, and of course, put in your calculator, and your calculator will be less likely to make a mistake. Okay, so we will be going on to Chapter 4, Evaluating Variable Expressions. This is getting tough, but you guys can handle it. And this is a lot more of what they'll be doing in, wow, it's a real short lesson. Well, maybe that will be fun. Okay, well, I will get back to this in our next installment.